The air shimmered with the heat of 2 suns as Lyra, a young female Veltrian, stood atop a rocky outcrop on the planet Xylar. Her heart raced in her chest, echoing the pounding rhythm of her nerves. Today was the day she would go on her first mission as a prime hunter tasked with capturing a human. The thrill of the hunt sang in her veins, yet something gnawed at her. "Lyra, are you ready?" A voice broke through her thoughts. It belonged to Kalen, her training partner and a seasoned hunter. Tall and rugged, he had the confidence of someone who had hunted more humans than he could count. "I'll be ready when you stop fussing," she shot back, adjusting her armor, the sleek material hugging her frame. "You have to check your gear," he insisted. "Your life depends on it." Lyra rolled her eyes but complied, inspecting the various straps and compartments. "I've trained for this my entire life, Kalen. I know what I'm doing," she replied, her tone a mix of annoyance and reassurance. "Right? The legendary Lyra, the best rookie Veltrian ever," he said, smirking. "Doesn't mean you can skip the basics." Before she could retort, their commander, the Los, appeared, his figure imposing. "Enough banter. Gather around," he commanded, his voice deep like the hum of a thunderstorm. As they formed a semicircle before him, the Los continued, "Today we will hunt the human who has infiltrated our designated capture zone. It's crucial we retrieve him for our research. Show no mercy." Kalen exchanged a glance with Lyra, his excitement unmistakable. "Don't worry. We'll bag him in no time," he whispered. "Easy for you to say," Lyra murmured back. "You're not the one feeling like a piece of livestock about to be led to slaughter." "Oh, come on. Think of it as a game. Besides, haven't you heard the stories? Humans are cunning. You have to respect that." "Right," Lyra replied, her mind racing. "Respect or not, that doesn't mean I have to enjoy this. Focus on the mission, Lyra." The Los interrupted, clearly annoyed. "We leave in 5 minutes. Prepare yourselves." As he marched away, Kalen turned back to her, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Come on. Let's catch ourselves a human." The hunt began in a dense, biodiverse area known for its alien flora. The sight was stunning, yet Lyra's heart felt heavy. Kalen thrived amidst the vibrant greens, expertly tracking their target. She struggled to keep pace, caught in her own thoughts. "Why so quiet?" Kalen asked, breaking the silence as they maneuvered through the lush underbrush. "Just thinking," Lyra replied, her voice unsteady. "About what?" "What it might feel like to catch your first human." "I don't know, Kalen," she admitted, her eyes darting around for signs of movement. "What if this is wrong? They're sentient beings too." Kalen snorted, waving a hand. "Sentient or not, they're a threat. We're doing our people a service by studying them. It's science, Lyra." "Science? Or tradition?" She shot back, feeling a surge of frustration. What if we were the ones being hunted? How would we feel? Kalen halted, eyes narrowing. "You're not serious, are you?" Before she could finish, a rustle behind them caught their attention. "Focus." The Los barked, reappearing as if from nowhere. "We're close. Keep your eyes peeled." They crouched low as the Los signaled them forward. Lyra's heart raced faster than her feet could move. Any moment now, they'd see their target. The thrill of the chase was intoxicating, but it warred with her growing unease. "Lyra," Kalen whispered, "look ahead." She peered through the thick underbrush, spotting a figure moving between trees. It was small, unassuming. A human standing in the dappled sunlight, unaware of the danger looming just beyond the foliage. "That's him," Kalen said, excitement bubbling in his voice. "Let's surround him." Lyra hesitated, feeling a pang of guilt. It was just a person, a man, dressed in loose clothing and looking utterly out of place. She wanted to know who he was and why he was here. "Lyra, what are you waiting for?" Kalen urged. "Let's move before he gets away." She stood frozen, feeling a magnetic pull toward the human. "Wait," she whispered harshly. "What if he's not a threat?" "Not a threat," Kalen hissed, disbelief coloring his tone. "He's alone in Veltrian territory. Of course he's a threat. Are you really going to let your empathy get in the way?" "Empathy?" She glared at him. "I don't want to hurt someone just because we've been told to." The Los, who had crept closer, turned to them sharply. "Are you questioning my orders?" His disappointment was palpable. Lyra started, but words escaped her. "Then just follow my lead," the Los commanded, his tone brooking no argument. "We need to act." Before another second passed, he lunged forward, and Kalen followed suit. Lyra felt like she was being yanked along a path she didn't agree with. But as the 2 hunters plunged into the fray, she forced her body to move, trailing behind them. Just as they closed in on the human, she took a breath and the entire world narrowed around that single moment. Kalen readied a net and the Los prepared to charge. "Stop!" Lyra shouted, her voice echoing through the silence. They paused, bewildered. "We can't just pounce on him." "Lyra, get out of the way!" Kalen yelled. "You'll ruin everything." but she pressed forward, holding her hands up, heart racing. Wait, we need to talk to him first. The human turned at her voice, confusion etched across his features. Please, she breathed, the words almost lost among the tension. Let's not do this the hard way. The human's eyes widened, a spark of recognition flickering between them. In that instant, she felt the weight of her training clash with the reality of being a hunter. She wanted to understand him, not hunt him. Kalen's frustration boiled over. What are you doing, Lyra? Ignoring him, she stepped closer, softly meeting the human's gaze. I won't hurt you, she reassured him, her voice steady, edging toward a connection she never thought possible. Don't move. The Los barked, losing patience. But Lyra couldn't step back. Something in this moment felt monumental. The human took a hesitant step forward, mirroring her resolve. I'm not here to fight. I just want to understand. As the space between them shrank, Lyra found herself questioning everything she'd ever been taught. In that moment, all she felt was the understanding blossoming between them. And perhaps, just perhaps, the chase wasn't about capturing, but discovering. With her heart racing, Lyra stood at a crossroads, uncertain but willing to step into the unknown. The hunt had begun, but not in the way they had expected. Little did she know her journey was just beginning. Chapter 2, The Encounter. Lyra stood still, her heart pounding in her chest. The human's gaze met hers, filled with equal parts curiosity and apprehension. The brief moment stretched, creating a fragile silence that felt almost sacred. But before Lyra could speak, Kalen moved forward. Step back, Lyra, he commanded, raising his net. No, she said sharply, stepping into his path. Wait, let's hear what he has to say. The human's confusion deepened as he glanced between the two alien hunters. Are you serious? You're not going to capture me? Kalen scoffed. Of course, we are. That's our job, and your life is not worth questioning. Stop it. Lyra snapped. She turned back to the human. I'm Lyra. I'm not here to hurt you. Is that supposed to make me feel better? He replied, skepticism coloring his tone. Please, just tell us why you're here, she implored, her voice softer. The human hesitated, weighing his options. I'm Ethan, a researcher. I came to study your world, not to invade. Research? Kalen echoed, still suspicious. For what? Are you scouting for a takeover? Ethan shook his head vigorously. No, it's not like that at all. I'm just curious about your culture, your biology, everything. Lyra caught Ethan's gaze again, a spark of sincerity in his eyes. You don't seem like a threat. Would you trust a human just because he looks nice? Kalen H. This is ludicrous. But what if he really is here to study? Lyra insisted. What if he can teach us something about ourselves? We're not here to learn from humans. Kalen snapped. We're supposed to. Before he could finish, the Los stepped forward, clearly irked. Enough. You two can debate this later, but we need him now. Lyra's heart sank. No. Let's give him a chance. Ethan's expression shifted to one of desperate hope. Really? You'd risk your mission for me? Let's not make it about you, the Los interjected sharply. Lyra, are you willing to defy orders? Lyra clenched her fists, feeling the weight of her decision teetering on a knife's edge. Yes. Lyra. Kalen's voice rose with disbelief. You can't mean that. I do, she insisted. I want to understand. Fine. The Los crossed his arms, his patience running thin. We'll talk later. For now, let's move somewhere safe. What? Kalen asked, incredulous. You're seriously going to let him go? Yes, if it means keeping the peace, the Los replied, his tone clipped. It might give us insights we've never considered. Let's head to the cave ruins nearby. It's safe there. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling a strange combination of relief and anxiety. Lead the way then. As they navigated through the dense underbrush towards the cave, Ethan observed the aliens' interactions. So, you're both hunters? Lyra nodded. Yes, of our people and, well, what we've been told about yours. But it's not that simple anymore. Is it? What do you mean? Ethan asked, curiosity piqued. Kalen scowled but remained silent, his frustration bubbling beneath the surface. I guess I wonder whether what we've been taught is the whole truth, Lyra confessed, glancing over her shoulder. You told me you're here for research. What do you hope to find? Ethan hesitated before replying. I want to learn about your biology, your technologies, how you live in harmony with nature. Nature? Kalen scoffed. You think we live in harmony? You don't know the half of it. Wait, Kalen, Lyra pleaded. Maybe he's trying to understand why we think this way. Wouldn't that be valuable? Kalen was visibly frustrated, but Ethan chimed in. Exactly. A mutual understanding could. Enough of this foolishness, Kalen shot back. You're just going to end up leading him back to our camp to expose us all. The Los raised a hand, signaling for silence. They reached the mouth of the cave, and the shadows fell over them. Entering the cool darkness, Lyra felt an unexpected sense of safety wash over her. Let's discuss this without shouting, she suggested, eyes meeting Ethan's. We need to break down these barriers. You make it sound easy, but it's not, Ethan said, glancing at Kalen nervously. Humans have a history, and it's not exactly pretty. Tell me, Lyra urged. What do you mean? Humans have fought amongst ourselves for centuries, Ethan began. Wars based on ideology, greed, even simple differences in belief. Is that why you chose to come here? The Los asked, stepping forward. To find a better way? Ethan nodded. Exactly. I wanted to see if there's a chance for peace. Something different. How naive, Kalen grumbled. Perhaps, Ethan replied, meeting Kalen's gaze. Yet here I am, hoping to find it. Lyra felt a surge of admiration for Ethan. What makes you think we can find a way? Because, he said firmly. Evidently, not all Veltrians share the same views as Kalen. Kalen opened his mouth to retort, but the Los raised a hand. We're not here to fight amongst ourselves. We're here to assess the situation. Is that really why you're here? Ethan pressed, eyes narrowing. Or are you here just to capture me? That's what we were trained to do, Kalen responded tersely. But perhaps it's time to reassess our training, Lyra interjected, eyes darting between the Los and Kalen. The Los looked thoughtful for a moment. You may have a point, Lyra. Maybe there's a balance we've overlooked. Ethan's expression brightened. See? We can have a conversation, learn from one another without hostility. Okay, let's say we humor this conversation. The Los relented. What do you want from us? I want to build a bridge, Ethan said earnestly. Not just for humans and Veltrians, but for understanding overall. Understanding, Kalen said, incredulous. What does that even mean? It means we try to learn from each other's histories, cultures, and lives before making judgments, Ethan explained. Imagine learning together instead of fighting. Lyra felt a fire igniting within her. He's right. If we bridge the gap instead of framing it as a hunt, maybe we can evolve past the limitations we've been given. That's all well and good, Kalen scoffed. But we can't just throw caution to the wind. The Los didn't respond right away, his mind turning over the implications. Perhaps it's worth considering. Ethan looked at each of them, a mixture of hope and uncertainty on his face. If we can all agree to explore this idea, I'd be willing to share everything I know about humans. The customs, the culture, everything. Lyra could feel the weight of possibility hanging in the air. What if they could change everything? As the tension in the cave slowly dissipated, she glanced at Kalen, who still seemed skeptical but reluctant to argue. Then let's start with understanding, Lyra said, determination lighting her eyes. All right, the Los said after a pensive pause. But we tread lightly. Agreed. Agreed, Ethan answered, a glint of hope in his eyes. And as they began to discuss their histories, shared customs, and the potential for a new way forward, Lyra felt that this moment could be a turning point, one she had never anticipated. Chapter 3. A Change of Heart. The cave's cool air felt thick with tension and uncertainty, but Lyra was determined to break through the barriers of misunderstanding. As they sat on the stone floor, she looked around at her companions. Ethan, Kalen, and the Los, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent moss. Each bore distinct expressions. So, Lyra said, trying to fill the silence, let's start with something simple. Ethan, what is the most crucial aspect of human culture that we should know about? Ethan considered for a moment. Relationships. Humans thrive on connections, family, friendships, sometimes even rivals. Our emotions drive us in ways that define our existence. Relationships, Kalen echoed, his voice dripping with skepticism. What does that have to do with hunting? Lyra shot him a glance of disapproval. It's about understanding social dynamics, Kalen. If we want to learn, we need to start somewhere. Ethan nodded, grateful for her support. Exactly, Kalen. Think about it. Our emotions can lead to creativity, collaboration, and even conflict resolution. We're not just reactive beings, we seek meaning. Kalen shrugged. Meaning, huh? Sounds like an abstract concept. Not when you see it in action, Ethan replied. For example, in many cultures, there's a practice called storytelling. We share our experiences to teach, entertain, and connect. It's a way to pass down wisdom. Storytelling? The Los asked, suddenly intrigued. That sounds foreign. It is, but it's also universal, Ethan explained. Stories often have moral lessons showcasing what makes us who we are. They build trust and foster community. Lyra's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Can you tell us a story? Something that resonates with your experiences? Ethan hesitated but then nodded. All right, this is a story from my childhood. He took a breath before beginning. Once I had a friend named Sam. We grew up together in a small town. One summer we decided to explore a nearby forest. It was supposed to be an adventure. What went wrong? Kalen interjected. Ethan chuckled. Everything and nothing. We wandered deeper and ended up getting lost. As the sun set, panic set in. But instead of freaking out, we started looking for familiar landmarks, telling each other stories to keep morale up. Did you find your way back? Lyra asked, leaning forward. Eventually, Ethan continued, a smile on his face. But the real lesson came after. Sam and I realized how vital it was to rely on one another. Our bond grew stronger that day. We understood that facing challenges together made us best friends. Interesting, the Los mused. We often rely solely on our instincts during a hunt. Wouldn't a shared experience be more effective? Absolutely, Ethan said, seizing the moment. Imagine if hunters teamed up, using their strengths to work together instead of competing. The results could be phenomenal. Kalen crossed his arms. Sounds nice in theory, but theory doesn't always work in practice. Don't be so cynical, Lyra piped up. We could try it. What if we hunted collaboratively, utilizing teamwork instead of traditional methods? We could observe more and learn from each other. Ethan lit up at her suggestion. That's it. It starts with a simple agreement. Collaboration could redefine how both our species view each other. What's the point of hunting together? Kalen asked, still skeptical. We're supposed to capture and study. Or we could gather information and share it, Lyra replied enthusiastically. What if we set up tests but without harmful intentions? This could lead to a breakthrough in how humans and Veltrians coexist. The Los raised an eyebrow. And what would that look like? Ethan or his chin, lost in thought. How about we start with a shared activity? Both species could learn what it's like to live in each other's shoes, so to speak. Kalen sighed but seemed a bit more receptive. What kind of activity? Maybe we could take turns leading, Ethan suggested. One day, Veltrians show humans how to navigate these forests, and another day, humans share survival skills or offer insights into technology. The Los seemed intrigued. So, rather than a traditional capture, we aim for a mutual exchange? Exactly. Ethan said, his enthusiasm contagious. Think of it as a cultural exchange, not a hunt. You can spare the aggression and foster understanding instead. Lyra nodded. This could change everything, enabling us to see life through different lenses. Kalen was silent for a moment, contemplating their words. Slowly, he uncrossed his arms. All right, I'm willing to try this, but it's going to take a lot of training. We have to ensure neither side exploits the other. Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of optimism. That's a great start. We need to establish trust first. Let's lay down some ground rules. Ground rules? Kalen asked, raising an eyebrow. Yeah. For example, no unwanted physical contact, and we clarify our intentions before any action. No surprises. Ethan turned to Lyra. What do you think? I agree. Clear boundaries will help ease tensions, she said. Agreed, the Los added. We'll need to keep our focus on learning from one another. Ethan nodded warmly, grateful for their willingness. All right, how about we set a specific time for our first joint activity? Tomorrow at dawn, Kalen proposed. We can meet at the clearing, away from any distractions. Perfect. Ethan's excitement bubbled over. I'll bring some tools that might help. You can showcase your local plants. Tease, just give it a chance. As the afternoon light dimmed, Lyra felt a sense of camaraderie build among them. For the first time, I'm excited about our mission. It feels like we have purpose. More than you realize, Ethan added, smiling. This could redefine how both our species view each other in years to come. The Los looked around at the group, his face softened. Then let's make the most of this opportunity. But remember, we'll need everyone's commitment if we want this to work. Count me in, Kaelin said, nodding with reluctant enthusiasm. Me too. Lyra chimed in, her heart racing. Tomorrow then. Let's make it count. With a sense of purpose hanging in the air, they prepared to leave the cave, unaware of the ripple effect their decisions might have. Tomorrow's venture loomed ahead, filled with potential, possibility, and the promise of understanding a world different from their own. Chapter 4, Confrontation. The dawn sun broke over the horizon, casting a soft golden light across the clearing. Lyra arrived early, her heart fluttering with anticipation. Today marked the beginning of an experiment, a chance for both humans and Veltrians to share knowledge and, hopefully, build trust. She paced nervously, glancing down the path for any sign of her companions. As if I'm not already anxious enough, she muttered to herself, trying to shake off her nerves. The shadows danced around her, the light filtering in and painting the ground in surreal patterns. A rustle in the bushes caught her attention, and she turned to see Ethan approaching. His face was alive with excitement despite the early hour. "Morning, Lyra. Ready to kick off our cultural exchange?" "I hope so," she said, trying to match his energy. "What's the plan?" Ethan pulled out a small satchel from behind his back. "I brought some items to help illustrate human survival techniques." "Great. I prepared some local plants and tools," she replied, her fear beginning to fade. "Wonderful," he said, grinning. "The more we share, the better." Just as the two stood together, Kaelin and the Los emerged from the trees. Kaelin appeared begrudgingly alert while the Los walked with a commanding presence. "Good to see you both made it," the Los said, scanning the clearing. "Let's make this quick, we don't have all day." Kaelin shot Ethan a glare. "Just remember, we're watching you," he warned, arms crossed. "No funny business." Ethan raised his hands in mock surrender. "No funny business here, I promise." "Enough of that," the Los interjected. "Let's focus on the task at hand. What's first on our agenda?" Lyra stepped forward, holding a few vibrant plants. "I can start by showing you these. They are used in our traditional remedies." She pointed to each one, explaining their uses. "This one helps with headaches and this one boosts endurance." Kaelin listened attentively but didn't hide his skepticism. "Do they actually work?" Ethan chimed in, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "I'd love to learn more. What's the process of using them?" "They are usually steeped in hot water to create a tea, sometimes combined with others for even more potent effects," Lyra explained. "The locals have used them for generations." "I can see the practical application," Ethan said, nodding. "Do you have a sample?" Lyra smiled, feeling nervous yet invigorated. "Yes, here." She took a moment to gather the ingredients, showing him how to prepare the tea with care as she explained each step. While Lyra demonstrated, Kaelin hovered, clearly unimpressed. "What's the point? We're not here for herbal remedies. Let's get to something meaningful." "Let's not rush this," Ethan said, attempting to gain Kaelin's attention. "Understanding takes time." "Fine, whatever." Kaelin crossed his arms, his skepticism unabated. "You're the one in control here, right?" "Actually," Lyra interrupted, "I think we should shift gears before we lose focus." Ethan suggested we try some survival skills. "Exactly," Ethan said, relief spreading across his face. "Let's not waste time debating. Let's do." "Survival skills?" Kaelin asked, incredulous. "What are you going to show us, tying knots?" Ethan grinned. "Actually, yes. And some practical navigation techniques." Kaelin rolled his eyes, but the Los nodded. "All right, let's see what you've got." Ethan took a deep breath, excitement bubbling within him. "Okay, first, I'm going to show you how to find directions using the sun and the stars. It's essential for navigating unfamiliar terrain." As he spoke, he set out small twigs as markers on the ground, creating a makeshift compass. "Here's how to tell east from west based on the position of the sun." Lyra observed quietly, amazed at Ethan's ease in teaching. She had never seen anyone explain something so clearly. "Okay, but what if it's cloudy?" Kaelin interjected. "What then?" "Good question," Ethan replied, undeterred. "We can use landmarks, such as distinctive trees or rocks, to help guide us. Remembering these will let you navigate even in poor conditions." Kaelin remained hesitant but continued to watch closely. The Los had taken a step closer, clearly intrigued. "Let's put this into practice," Ethan suggested. "Let's say we're lost in the woods. We could look for physical landmarks, like that big rock over there." He pointed to a large boulder cresting the edge of the clearing. "If we can see it from the height we are at, we have a reference point to find our way back." "Okay, that's a start," Kaelin admitted, his tone easing slightly. "But is there a simpler method?" Ethan's expression turned serious. "Everything takes practice. The more you rely on your instincts, the better you'll become." If you only depend on technology or external sources, you might fail in critical situations. Technology? Kalen laughed. That's one area where humans excel. True, Ethan acknowledged, remembering stories of their own advancements. But sometimes, disconnecting from devices and relying on nature is just as important. Not arguing that, Kalen replied, his voice softer. Just something to keep in mind. This time, Lyra interjected, gaining both their attention. What's next, Ethan? I thought we could practice knot tying, Ethan said. It's essential for securing shelter, crafting tools, or setting traps when hunting or camping. A survival skill for indeed, the Los mused. Continue. Okay, let's start with the basics. This is called a square knot, Ethan began, showing them how to tie it with 2 pieces of rope. It's one of the most versatile knots and can be used for a variety of tasks. Kalen approached warily, his curiosity piqued as he learned to tie the knot under Ethan's guidance. Not bad, he admitted, a hint of genuine admiration breaking through his skepticism. I'll show you a few more, Ethan continued, smiling at Kalen's newfound engagement. Knot tying could be a bond in itself. It requires patience, attention, and practice. As they moved through various knots, Lyra noticed that Kalen's demeanor had gradually softened. He was engaging, asking questions, and even laughing occasionally. The tension that had once existed had diminished, replaced by a collaborative spirit. Okay, last one, Ethan said, wrapping things up. This is called a bowline, a knot that creates a fixed loop at the end. It's crucial for rescue operations. Kalen exchanged glances with Delos. All right, I see how this could measure up, he said finally, putting down the rope and letting most of his previous doubts melt away. Great teamwork, everyone, Delos commented, nodding at Lyra and Ethan. Before they could let the momentum fade, Kalen cleared his throat. So what's next on our agenda? He asked, his tone no longer confrontational. Next, we share more about our cultures, Ethan suggested. Each of us can talk about important traditions. It'll allow us to expand our perspectives. Agreed, Delos said. This might be the key to understanding each other. Lyra felt invigorated as they prepared to dive deeper into this unexpected journey. I think I'll go first, she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. In Veltrian culture, we have rituals for everything, especially for honoring nature. We believe in giving thanks, recognizing the balance of life. Interesting, Ethan replied. That's something humans also value but often overlook in modern times. We're so focused on progress that we sometimes disconnect from nature. As they settled into their discussions, a sense of camaraderie grew stronger. Today had laid a solid foundation, redefining their mission. Lyra realized that this wasn't just about exchanging skills. It was a chance to challenge the very beliefs they had grown up with. The path ahead was still uncertain, but as they shared their stories, ideas, and laughter, it became clearer with each passing moment. Maybe this was the beginning of something much more than they had ever imagined. Chapter 5, New Beginnings. The following days blurred together as their exchanges became more structured, evolving into a comfortable routine filled with eager dialogue, laughter, and shared experiences. Lyra felt a thrill in the air as she prepared for their next gathering in the clearing. Today, they would take everything they had learned and put it to the test. Are you ready? Ethan asked as he approached her, his face illuminated in the morning light. I can't believe we're going to actually integrate all our skills today. Ready as I'll ever be, she replied, tying her long hair back. This is our chance to show Kalen and the Los how collaboration can lead to something great. Ethan grinned, excitement reflected in his eyes. Let's blow them away. As they slipped through the underbrush toward the meeting spot, they could see Kalen and the Los already waiting, their expressions unreadable. Right on time, Kalen stated, arms crossed defensively. What have you got planned today? Let's put our skills together. Lyra announced, stepping forward with confidence. Today, we'll work on a collective survival scenario. We'll build a makeshift shelter, set traps, and even start a fire. A shelter? Kalen raised an eyebrow. Sounds easy. Easy? You've got to be kidding. It requires teamwork, Ethan interjected, nudging Kalen playfully. The idea is to combine our methods instead of working individually. The Los nodded thoughtfully. Teamwork may require us to step outside our comfort zones. I'm intrigued. Great. Let's start with shelter, Lyra suggested. Ethan and I can scout for materials while you two figure out the layout. Deal, Kalen said, his demeanor slightly softened. Let's see what you two can find. They set off through the forest, gathering branches, leaves, and other natural resources. Lyra and Ethan worked side by side, laughing and sharing ideas. This reminds me of my childhood, Ethan said, picking up a sturdy branch. We'd build forts in the backyard with whatever we could find. Really? Did you have a fort building club? Lyra teased, forking a few branches into her arms. Something like that, he chuckled. We'd invite all the neighborhood kids over for fort battles. Fort battles? That sounds fun. We should have a fort building competition sometime, she suggested, glancing at him. Consider it a date after this. Ethan smiled in a way that made Lyra's heart flutter. Focus on the task, you too. Kaelin called from a distance. We're not here for games. Right, Lyra replied, shaking her head. We're building a life-saving shelter instead. As they returned to the clearing, they worked together to decide on the layout of the shelter. Let's erect the frame using thicker branches, then weave in the lighter materials, Ethan explained. Lyra watched as he moved, impressed by the way he naturally coordinated with Kaelin and the Los when they worked to secure the structure. You've got a gift for leadership. Thanks, Ethan said, his gaze compelling. I just know how critical it is to work together. We're all better when we combine our strengths. Kaelin glanced at Ethan, a hint of begrudging respect creeping onto his face. All right, show me how you tie those knots. They're crucial for securing that frame. Ethan demonstrated the square knot skillfully, explaining its function as he went along. Once we get the main frame up, this will keep everything sturdy. As Kaelin took notes, the Los turned to Lyra. You've made a difference, it seems. The energy in the group has changed. Honestly, it's about understanding each other, she replied, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. We're learning that there's more to each of us. They continued building, and soon the structure stood tall, a combination of both Veltrian techniques and human innovations. Everyone stepped back, admiring their work. Not half bad, Kaelin admitted, a smirk creeping onto his face. But let's see if it can keep the rain out. Well, it's not finished yet, Lyra reminded him. We need to add foliage and bark to help with insulation and camouflage. Good point, Ethan added. Let's gather more leaves to cover the exterior. As they worked, Ethan caught Lyra's gaze, and for a brief moment, the noise around them faded. You know, I never expected to enjoy this collaboration. This is fun. Right, she said, her heart racing as she smiled back. I thought it would be a disaster. I think we're figuring it out. Together, he concluded, locking eyes with her as they reached for the same branch. Hey, let's keep our focus on the shelter. Kaelin interrupted, teasing an eye roll. Or are you two planning to build a fort out of love? Lyra giggled while Ethan grinned mischievously. Seems like there's a theme here. Shut it, Kaelin. Lyra shot back playfully. Just making an observation, he smirked. But all jokes aside, we need to get back to work. Why don't we start on the fire next? The Los suggested, eyeing Ethan. What do you think? Absolutely. Fire making is crucial, Ethan said, warmth radiating in his voice. Let's gather some dry tinder and kindling. With laughter still wafting through the air, the group split up to gather the necessary materials. Lyra felt a sense of unity soaring as they worked cohesively, sharing tasks and ideas. Soon, they regrouped and Ethan took the lead. All right, let's set up the fire pit here. He indicated a spot near the shelter. Start by creating a circle of stones to contain the fire. Lyra gathered stones, appreciating how everyone was contributing differently. Like this. She held up a large flat stone. Perfect, Ethan said, grinning. Now we'll need to arrange the kindling within, then place larger branches on top once it's lit. Just be careful with the fire, Kaelin cautioned. We don't want to scare off potential food sources. True, Lyra added. But we also need to cook food if we catch anything. Great point. Cooking healthy food will nourish us and ensure we stay strong, Ethan said, lighting a spark of excitement. As Ethan demonstrated how to spark the fire using flint and dry grass, everyone leaned in, helplessly charmed by his growing enthusiasm. After a few moments of focused concentration, a small flame ignited and the warm glow illuminated their faces. Nice work, the Los remarked, the tension of their earlier discussions dissipating. Thanks. This fire will keep us warm and provide some comfort at night, Ethan announced, pride evident in his voice. Quite the achievement, Kaelin admitted, the corners of his mouth twitching into a smile. Maybe teamwork does have its merits. Lyra felt a rush of warmth blossom in her chest. I think we're doing this together. As they began to cook their gathered food over the fire, laughter and conversations flowed easily. They shared stories, hopes and dreams, weaving tighter connections with each passing moment. Did you know that humans often share meals as a bonding practice? Ethan asked, looking around the circle. Meals are vital in Veltrian society too, Lyra replied. It's a time for reflection and togetherness. Kaelin nodded. Perhaps we can start a new tradition, fellowship over food. I like that idea. Ethan said, a sense of excitement sparking in his eyes. As the sun began to sink below the horizon, Lyra reflected on everything that had occurred. They had built not just a shelter but also shared experiences and laughter, overcoming skepticism and fear. Today was incredible, she said, glancing at each of her companions. I never imagined we could accomplish so much together. The Los offered a rare smile. It seems we're all learning from one another. And as the bonfire flickered, casting soft shadows against the shelter they had built, Lyra realized this was a new beginning, a chance for deeper connections and vibrant relationships that transcended boundaries. Today had opened her heart to the possibilities ahead, leading them into uncharted territory.